Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here on another live stream. Now, Monday tonight, of course, will be the only night that I will be going live because it's Thanksgiving week. You know, we got a lot of things to do, like clean up and cook and all the things. So I will not be live again until next Monday. All right, so keep that in mind. You guys, we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a lot to cover. I really have a lot to cover. We got to talk about Big Tish, Letitia James, New York Attorney General, and former FBI Director James Comey. Wow, case dismissed. Before we get into that, I'm going to start off with a word of prayer. Dear God, in Jesus' name, Father God, you know what we need and you know what's going to happen before it happens. We ask that you give us peace no matter which way it goes. We pray, however, that you take control, Father, of these evil agendas and things that are intended to be upon this nation, that you block them, Father, and that your Holy Spirit and righteousness prevail, and that good things prevail even into the midterms and even in 2028. We thank you in advance for all your blessings. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, don't forget to like the video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already, and make sure you select that all notification bells so you never miss an upload. Let's say hello to the crew. We've got Iron Ear. Happy Thanksgiving, family. All right, we've got Stanley Dogs. Hello and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. All right, yes, we're going to be doing a lot of eating, and if you cook, you got to do a lot of cooking. My girls says, hello, hello. Hello there, my girls. All right, and we also have Jackie Andrews. Good evening, all, and happy Thanksgiving week. Excited to be doing all of that eating. Doe Bordeaux, hello everyone, good to see you. Good to see you as well. We have Kenny Cooper. Good evening, y'all. Just cruising through Illinois on my way to Chicago with auto parts. All right. And my husband says hello all. All right. And who else do we have? We have Teresa Patrick. Yes, hello. And we also have Layla. Good evening, family, she says, with an extra emphasis on good. All right. And who else? We have Edaba Forbes, 8572. All right, guys. Hello to everybody. Let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot to cover. And like I said at the beginning, the case has been dismissed. The case against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. We already know Letitia James was supposedly had committed allegedly mortgage fraud and insurance fraud having to do with those properties in Virginia, and claiming that she was married to her father and saying that the apartment building had only 4 units when it really had 5. Just so much going on there. And remember, she was going after President Trump for mortgage fraud. Go figure. Seemingly, allegedly guilty of the same things that she was accusing him of. And remember, she said, no one is above the law. All right. So next, former FBI Director James Comey. I had to reacquaint myself with what was really going on with him. He supposedly lied in 2017 in Congress, in front of Congress, something along the lines, and I'll just read it here. I will just read it just a second. Something about in 2017, he said he made a statement that affirming that he did not. Let me just read this. Comey had sworn to Senator Chuck Grassley that he had never been an anonymous source to the media about Trump or Clinton investigations, and that he had never authorized someone else at the FBI to be such a source. And Senator Ted Cruz out of Texas asked Comey in 2020 if he stood by that 2017 testimony. Comey replied, I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017. According to the indictment, that simple statement affirming his past denial, it says here, was a lie. Okay, so And also this whole thing with them is predicated upon a technicality. It says that a Clinton appointed judge, Cameron Curry, dismissed with prejudice all charges against Comey and Letitia James. And it had to do with the U.S. Attorney General that was selected, not U.S. Attorney General, but U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan, how she was appointed, and that there was a technicality that violated a statute. And so basically, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background on that. So let's just hear some clips here, and we'll be right back.
Administration to pursue charges against James Comey and Letitia James. Is it likely that we will see DOJ potentially replace Halligan or find another way to try to make the argument, potentially appeal this, to refile these charges?
Sure. So there's a couple different options here and different sort of problems for each of them. One is obviously they could appeal, which is what I expect they will try to do. Not so much that they think the Fourth Circuit, who would hear it, would be all that amenable to the appeal, but so much as they really want to get this before the Supreme Court, sort of further expand the president's sort of unfettered discretion and his powers that they've been doing for the last year. But even if they tried to go back and refile, you'd have the issue of who could lawfully bring a new case. It would have to be someone who met either the district court appointment or someone who was confirmed by the Senate, which right now, good luck to anybody trying to get through the Senate, trying to explain what they'll do differently than what Lindsay Halligan was doing. And with the Comey case, in addition, there's a statute of limitations problem they'll face. Remember, Lindsay Halligan rushed this thing within days of showing up because the statute of limitations to bring the case against Comey was going to expire in like 3 or 4 days. And so now there'll be a whole extra legal fight of, can you even bring a case anymore? So this is a mess of their own making. It's the president's, personal vendetta, and it's blown up in their faces on a Monday morning as we're getting ready for Thanksgiving.
And I do want to read something. We just got Letitia James' statement on this. She said, "I am heartened by today's victory and grateful for the prayers and support I've received from around the country. I remain fearless in the face of these baseless charges as I continue fighting for New Yorkers every single day." Again, that just coming now from the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James. Bradley, back to what we're learning today.
I can't deal with them anymore. I don't want to hear any more of Communist News Network. I don't want to hear about that. You guys know it had something to do with Lindsay Halligan, the attorney that was selected, and this U.S. District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry dismissed all criminal charges, just totally dismissed them. All right, so we're going to hear a little bit more from Fox.
Is getting dismissed. The judge ruling the appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan violated the Constitution. The judge also criticized the DOJ for allowing an FBI agent who viewed Comey's privileged materials to testify to the grand jury. Now, the judge also tossed the case against Letitia James. Donna, we are just getting this on the wire. Talk to us about your top line thoughts in this moment.
Well, frankly, I'm not really surprised about the appointment of the Attorney General on that situation. I did think that that was going to be an issue, and I did think from the very beginning that Comey was going to have a valid legal argument. And what's interesting about the decision is it doesn't go to whether or not crimes are actually committed. It just goes to the way in which the prosecutor was appointed. So I'm not surprised legally when it comes to that issue.
Right. Do we foresee at all then an appeal or a different than prosecution, a second bite of the apple then with procedural things intact?
Yes, it's a 29-page opinion. I was just reading through it. So sorry if I look distracted during our segment. It doesn't get to the claim of malicious prosecution that Jim Comey was making. So this is solely the appointments clause, and that's why you have both cases dismissed against both individuals.
Right.
And it is kind of interesting, though, because obviously that's kind of a fluke side ruling, not on the merits of the case. But it is kind of interesting how all of these fluke side rulings always tend to seem to go in the same direction.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I want to give you an opportunity also if you want to go back, because it was so important.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say, going back to this poor mom.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, is there ever going to be a time when Democrats are actually going to, be held accountable? I mean, not just a slap on the wrist, but actually be held accountable. I mean, there's this meme of this skeleton sitting in the park on a park bench saying, me waiting for Democrats to actually be held accountable, and it's a skeleton sitting there. I mean, is it ever going to happen? Because I'm so tired of it looking like, oh, we're doing an investigation. Oh, they've been subpoenaed, and ultimately nothing ever happens. I don't want to hear about any more subpoenas. I don't want to hear about any more so-called indictments or investigations or being referred to the DOJ. I want to see a perp walk, handcuffs. That's what I want to see. I know you guys want to see it as well. But again, it has something to do with how the prosecutor in that particular case with James Comey and Letitia James was appointed, saying that it violated the Constitution. And so it was a legal technicality that is going back to the Department of Justice, as they say, because, Blondie Bondi, she's saying some things out there that this will get handled. And we will see, because so far with her, I hadn't seen what I wanted to see.
What I will say is that everybody knows that James Comey lied to Congress. It's as clear as day. And this judge took an unprecedented action to throw these cases out to shield James Comey and Letitia James from accountability based on a technical ruling. And the administration disagrees with that technical ruling. We believe the attorney in this case, Lindsay Halligan, is not only extremely qualified for this position, but she was in fact legally appointed. And I know the Department of Justice will be appealing this in very short order. So maybe James Comey should pump the brakes on his victory lap.
She said maybe James Comey should pump the brakes on his victory lap. And this is Lindsay Halligan. Okay. And they said that she was illegally appointed. And it says here by Eric Doherty that Senate Republicans refusing to toss out the blue slip tradition allowed the James Comey and Letitia James indictments to be thrown out by a liberal judge. Chuck Grassley, a Republican out of Iowa, refused to get rid of it. So Democrat Senators Warner and Kane could unilaterally block confirmation of Lindsay Halligan, and it hasn't moved forward. So the judge had the ammo to claim Halligan isn't legally in her position and threw it out. Now we're in this mess. Get strong, Senate GOP. Trump warned you. All right. So Trump warned them. So this is where we are with that. And I want to see that smug smile just wiped off of the face of Letitia James. I actually do. Let's hear what Attorney General Pam Bondi has to say. Let's hear what Blondie Bondi has to say, guys.
If I could just get your reaction to the James Comey, Letitia James cases being dropped today. Back in Washington, James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What is your reaction to his statement?
I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Okay, so that's Attorney General Pam Bondi. She says this will be going up for appeal. All right, it is. I want to share with you something else. Now, this, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one right here. Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick has been indicted after investigators say that she stole, according to them, $5 million in FEMA disaster funds, money meant for COVID relief, and laundered it to her bankroll her 2021 campaign. $5 million. Now they're saying that this woman could face, they're saying she could face 53 years in prison. Now that's what they're saying. They're saying she can spend 53 years in prison. We're going to say, they said that Letitia James could actually spend 30 years in prison, but we're going to see, because does anyone actually really spend time in prison when you're talking about these demon rats? I mean, you still got people like Adam Schiff running around doing whatever he wants. And you've got the Clintons who seem to be avoiding subpoenas. I want to see people be held accountable. And I just don't like, they just know that they're going to get away with stuff too. You just detect the smugness. Like, I know it. They're almost like Abigail Spanberger, who's now going to be, he's like going to be the governor of Virginia, during the debate when Winsome Sears was asking her a question. And she was like, that's how the Democrats are. They know they've got the system rigged seemingly in their favor.
Meanwhile, a Democratic congresswoman could be facing 53 years behind bars after she was indicted by a grand jury in Florida yesterday. Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick is accused of stealing $5 million in FEMA disaster funds and using it to bankroll her 2021 congressional campaign. Mark Meredith is live in Washington with more on this. Good morning, Mark.
Griff, this is a wild story. Good morning to you. The Democratic congresswoman is one of 4 people accused of stealing taxpayer money to help win an election. The indictment handed down in Miami offers some stunning details about an alleged scheme also under review by the House Ethics Committee. The Justice Department charging 46-year-old Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of stealing disaster funds meant to help with COVID vaccinations, then laundering the money so she could run for Congress. Her brother, a political operative, and an accountant are also facing charges. The Attorney General says the Congresswoman conspired to steal $5 million, then tried to hide the money through multiple accounts to disguise its source. In a statement overnight, Pam Bondi said no one is above the law, least of all powerful people who rob taxpayers for personal gain. We will follow the facts in this case and deliver justice. Within the last hour, Fox obtained a statement from the Congresswoman's office. Cherfilus-McCormick is denying the charges, writing, "This is an unjust, baseless sham indictment, and I am innocent. The timing alone is curious and clearly meant to distract from far more pressing national issues. From day one, I have cooperated with every lawful request, and I will continue to do so until this matter is resolved." We're hearing from fellow Florida Congressman Greg Steube. He issued a blistering statement over this, saying this is one of the most egregious abuses of public trust I have ever seen. Stealing $5 million in taxpayer disaster funds from FEMA, of all places, is beyond indefensible.
If that's true, that is indefensible. And they are so good at hiding the source of the money, putting it in all these different accounts and moving the money around. Man, these people are so crooked. And they managed to get away with it. Fancy that. All the shell companies that we heard about with the Bidens and moving things around, bereavement, all the things. And these people just continuously seem to get away with it. Now, next, I want to share with you some good news, all right, concerning President Trump. Let's share the good news. Look at this.
So is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number. It's 87%. He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to 6 months ago. As I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
It really is interesting to watch his overall approval rating go down, 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 but see this be completely constant here.
It is among independents. It's not among Republicans.
Okay, so how does this compare to past presidents in a second term?
Yeah, okay, I think this gives the game away, right? Which is Donald Trump, if you look at 21st century presidents' own party approval at this point in term 2, who leads the pack? It's Donald John Trump. 87% of Republicans approve Donald John Trump. You go back to 2013, 78% of Democrats supported Barack Obama, and it was 78% of Republicans who supported George W. Bush back in 2005 at this point. So Donald Trump has the biggest highest own party approval of any president who served their entire second term in the 21st century.
You could look at this one of two ways. You could say, obviously, he's doing way better than past presidents. Or you could say, there is still room to settle. If there is a reversion to the mean here, if that does fall further, that could chip into his overall approval rating. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress in January. One of the concerns is
I don't want to hear anything about her. Marjorie Taylor Greene. You guys want to hear about that? I don't. But I have a clip to share with you with Danielle Carter Walters of Chicago Flips Red. And it's something regarding a boycott. And they're doing a counter boycott because, on the left, they want the economy actually to do bad under President Trump. They don't want it to do well. So they're trying to come up with ways to make it do poorly up under him. But we, as people who support the current administration, have to do a counter to that. All right, we have to counter what they're doing, and what we counter has to be more powerful than what they're doing. So, and I think this is what this is about. And Danielle Carter Walters, she's going to talk about this right now.
Guys, we are calling for a counter boycott, and it's called Protect Our Communities First. While No Kings launches a Thanksgiving Cyber Monday boycott against companies they claim support ICE, Chicago Flips Red is launching a counter protest, one that defends American families, taxpayers, seniors, and the displacement of residents in Chicago. Our position is simple. We will boycott any corporations, businesses, nonprofit, or political partner that promotes illegal immigration over American citizens, recruits, employs, or prioritize illegal aliens while ignoring residents who need jobs, supports sanctuary city policies that drain local resources, participates in the displacement of Black and American working class families, benefits financially from illegal alien contracts while our neighborhoods crumble. Why we are taking this stand? For 2 years, Chicagoans have watched shelter contracts worth hundreds of millions, hotels turn into migrant housing, budget cuts for residents, violence and chaos increase, seniors lose services, schools starved of resources while illegal alien spending skyrockets, property taxes explode, longtime residents lose homes. Corporations and nonprofits that help fuel this crisis, including those profiting from illegal alien contracts, are not exempt. Our message is clear. If you profit from the displacement of our community, we will not support you. If you invest in illegal aliens instead of American citizens, we will not invest in you. If you stand against our neighborhoods, we stand against you and your bottom line. This isn't left versus right. This is residents versus corruption. This is citizens versus displacement. This is families versus exploitation. The call to action. Chicago Flips Red is organizing a holiday counter boycott. We support small Black business owners, local mom and pop shops, American First business, community-based companies, American workers. We boycott corporations contracting to house illegal aliens over residents, businesses lobbying for sanctuary city policies, companies exploiting federal illegal alien funding, organizations displacing longtime Chicago families. We need all hands on deck on this, and we're putting Americans first. We will no longer fund our demise. We will no longer watch our elected officials fund our demise. We will no longer watch our tax dollars and benefits go to people who don't have any loyalty to our country, who actually despise our culture and who benefit off our backs. We will stand up as Americans, and we are taking our country, our cities and states back and giving it to we the people.
All right, that is Danielle Carter Walters of Chicago Flips Red. She's the vice president of the organization, and the other woman that is typically with her is the founder, Zoe Lee. Now, it's just a few of these women. I don't see like a whole big massive group. Like, where are the men? Why are the women doing all the work and the heavy lifting? Isn't her? I mean, I just don't get it. They are doing so much. And I hope if they don't, they need to get security. Because remember when that rhino allegedly punched her in the face, I showed you guys that video. If you haven't seen it, you need to go find it on my channel. And he actually, according to the video, hit her. But this is just some of the stuff that they're going through. These people are constantly in the face of their mayor, if you want to call that a mayor, and the alderman, the city council, pleading against these high property taxes. It's like you tax the citizens to death and give to somebody who hasn't put into the system because they're illegal. That is communism. You take from this group and give to that group, and this one work and that one's not. What is that if that's not communism or some sort of communism, Marxism? That's what it is. And just the thought that you would just give everything to people and spit in the face of your own citizens. And then these people still going to vote blue no matter who. They are still going to vote Democrat. You guys got to wake up in places like Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis, New York. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen with Mamdani. Seemingly him and President Trump had a pretty good meeting. We'll see how that goes. They're talking about some zomance or something, whatever. He better not try any foolishness. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know who you got in the office. President Trump, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. So don't you charm your way into that office and turn around and try and do something else. The full force of the law will be on your head, Mamdani. So don't try no mess, no BS. You don't you play. We don't have Joe Biden in office. We got President Trump, a real president, somebody who is actually the president. You know, I know we didn't have it for 4 whole years in the previous administration, but these women are out here fighting the good fight of faith. They really are. And they are out, and they are really out there on the streets, boots on the ground and everything. And just to think, you sit there having lived in a city for like 30, 40, or however many years, putting in, working hard, being lawful, minding your own business, paying your taxes. And then every time you turn around, your property taxes are going up. And then you see these illegals being poured into your neighborhood, and they're getting all sorts of benefits that American citizens, people who have fought for our country, are supposedly not getting. That is really a slap in the face. It is evil. We're supposed to take care of home first. That's Bible. You don't let other people come into your house to eat up everything, the refrigerator, drag the people who live in the house outside, and we don't eat and we sleep outside, and they inside eating up all the food, sleeping in our beds. Are you serious? That is just crazy to me. But next, I want to get to Nicki Minaj, you know, the rapper that spoke out, and she thanked President Trump. Yes, she did. Now, I am not a Nicki Minaj fan, but you got to at least admire her for doing this correctly. Okay, she stood up, even though she knew that there would be possible backlash. People want to have her canceled. And these are other Black folks. Now, I got to go off on a rant right now. I got to go off on a rant on these cleft and lefty, Jerome Crow, Negro, Black folks that are liberal. Not all Black people. I'm talking about the liberal ones who are deranged, these Sambos, these bootlickers around here. Don't let anybody have a mind of their own. All she did, it wasn't even about President Trump. The fact of, well, you know what? They ticked off because President Trump is not fitting the narrative of being a racist. And instead of them admitting that they're wrong, they just get ticked off and just want to cancel Nicki Minaj because y'all got shown up for being who and what you really are, which are gaslighters. The man's never been a doggone racist. Y'all just believe whatever the news tell you. That makes you, you know what, I'm going to try to be a good Christian, but it's not looking like you're smart when you do that. Okay, pay attention, read laws, read legislation, know how these things work. And I have a work to do in that area also. I'm not making it seem like I know every single thing, but why demonize somebody when they do something good? You know, y'all don't want to admit, I'm talking to the liberal, left and black folks, and I'm just saying, I got to go off on a rant because I'm good for a rant every now and then. Y'all can't stand the fact that you are wrong. He's not a racist. You want to bring up some stuff from decades and decades ago that was taken out of context, that the media pushed and put their spin on it. The fact is, he is not. And you are just ticked off because you look like idiots who are out here saying that. Instead of just saying, you know what, that's good that he's doing that. I'm glad he's doing that. Give him credit where credit is due and leave Nicki alone for doing the right thing. I ain't see you guys fussing and fighting about what's happening to the Nigerians over there that are Christians. Now, y'all only want to say something. I'm talking to the black liberals who might end up on my channel. You only say something when the liberal media tells you to feel and say something. You got to be told because you are a slave in your mind. You got to be told what to think. You got to be given something like DEI. You got to be given like a handicap. You think that you're owed something. Give me reparations. You don't know that you're already free, but you need a racist person to tell you that you're free. And yet this man is trying his darnest to end a lot of wars, helping black countries, mind you. He didn't have to do it, but he did. And ending the war in Rwanda and the Congo, something that lasted almost 30 years. But yet the news that you probably watch, probably conveniently skipped over that. See, we got to stop being played like a fiddle. All right, we have a brain between our ears. Let's use it. And I don't mind being the one to tell you the truth. And if you want to put your hands over your ears like a toddler, like a 2-year-old, because you didn't have the common sense to look up legislation and pay attention to what is happening and make up your own mind. No, yeah, I'm not talking about the conservative, common sense people. I'm talking about the clefty lefty simpletons that only thing they know how to do is turn on the TV and just believe whatever they are told. And now Nicki Minaj is getting all this hate from black people, the liberal ones, fair weather friends. Yeah. They only care about black life is when there's a white police officer involved with an unarmed black person. And then they want to make the black person look like some kind of hero. And they got a rap sheet from here to New York City times 10, wrapped around the country 5 times. All right, I've stopped ranting. I just want to show you a clip from Nicki Minaj and her time at the UN, just a little portion of it. And I thought she did quite well. I thought she did.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that for the rest of my...
She said for the rest of her life, she will stand up. And she's just basically saying that's not quite the portion of the speech that I wanted, but that's rapper Nicki Minaj, and I could tell you not one song or that she rapped. I can't. I promise you I can't. And she's basically saying nobody's life should be taken based on how they pray, who they pray to. That just should not be happening. Okay. So President Trump is saying he's going to come in blazing. We're going to see. And every time he does something, they're going to turn it into a race issue. The klepty lefty media. I'm so tired of them. Nobody believes y'all. Why don't y'all just shut up and actually become real news for once? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, so let me see what you guys are saying. All right, we've got my girls. It is so insane how slow-minded black liberals and demon rats are. They want a handout from the very ones they say that hate them. If someone hated me, I wouldn't want a darn thing from them. You know what? That's how I feel. I'm serious. There was an instance where my sister and her friends went to a winery some years ago, probably 10 or so years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, up in North Georgia. And one of the wineries refused them, and they believed they were the victims of racism, and they refused to leave until they were served. Now, I have a different response. If I even suspect that you are racist, and I'm not one of those sensitive people that every little thing somebody does, I just claim racism. First of all, let me be clear on that. I don't do that. But if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, okay, hello, it's a duck. And there was nobody sitting inside the winery, and they would put them outside on the hot porch next to a dog, and they wanted to wait there until they were able to go inside and be treated properly. I just would have gone somewhere else. If you don't want my business, honey, I am not going to give it to you. That's just how I roll. I'll go somewhere where they know how to behave and act like they got some common sense. Okay, I bump that. I'm not begging to eat at your little stinky whatever redinky dink thing, whatever you got going on. All right, Jackie Andrews, FYI, Governor Newsom being charged by the DOJ, his assistant already indicted. The sanctuary status so violates our Constitution. Prayers for Ms. Minaj. Nigeria is out of control. Wow, I gotta do a video on that. Iron is just damn straight. Jackie Andrews, my girls, absolutely. All right, good to know. Thanks. Yes, I'm gonna look into that one. It's so hard to keep up every single thing. I just wouldn't want anything to do with anybody that treated me bad. Or it doesn't even have to be people who look like me. It can be people of any group. I'm just like, they're like, why are you being ugly like that? You know, you do have racism. I still don't think it's enough to keep a person down. I don't think it's systemic like that. But you do have individual instances. We just do, because you have too many different types of people in the world. But I don't like to dwell on things like that. I've got bigger fish to fry. Okay. I got things I got to do, and I can't be concerned about, some random races that might be out there somewhere. I mean, I'm serious. Most people aren't like that anyway. They too busy paying their bills, trying to make sure they have enough money for retirement and their children and grandchildren's education. All right. So what do we have here? SK Abstract. Woo, Linda. I just get riled up. I'm like, if I'm not wanted, and it may not have anything to do with racism. It could be any situation that you can come across in life where if you're not wanted, if you really believe you've got real substantial evidence, you have the receipts to show that you're being mistreated for whatever reason. Maybe you're a Christian, maybe, somebody hadn't forgiven you for something you did in high school. I'm like, if I'm not wanted, I'm not going to beg you to be in your space. I just don't do it. So maybe somebody else to do. Maybe you guys, I don't do that. You don't want me, I don't want to be around you. That's just how I am. Yes. And let's see, we have my girls. We need to pray for Nicki Minaj's salvation. Absolutely. I think she's a kind person, but I don't know about her salvation. That would be great. Wouldn't that be awesome for her to get saved? And Jermaine Timbaz, am I saying that right? These two are counting their chickens before they hatch. All right, Jackie Andrews, she's spot on. The reality of DNC putting Americans on the streets in favor of illegals has been an issue in California since the 1970s. What? Are you serious? California is horrible. California, Chicago, that is horrible. And I've always wondered, I hope Chicago, I'm sorry, I keep saying Chicago, but I mean to say California. I hope California doesn't fall into the ocean. I mean, they got a lot of problems. That whole state is messed up. They tax the citizens high so they can drive the residents out in order to take their homes and give them to the illegals. And I have heard that before. I have. See, this is so demonic. And they always switch words around to make it look like that they're for the American people. And they want to, and they're always talking about like with the government shutdown, right? The Democrats are like, we want to make sure that everybody has access to health care. No, you were trying to make sure that the illegals had access to health care to the tune of $1.5 trillion. And allegedly Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, ACA, was a money laundering scheme enriching the health insurance companies. That Obamacare, in my opinion, looked like communism BS. That's what it is. Everything they come up with, all these government subsidies and things like that, is taxpayers paying for illegals or whatever group that we're supposed to be funding at the moment, the ABC 123, whatever. And then the money goes into someone else's pockets. And I'm sure you guys have heard about the fact that if you pay out of your pocket, your insurance costs less money than the cost of your care costs less money than if you use and go through your insurance company. Yeah, people got all these videos all over social media going, wait a minute. I could pay out of pocket and pay less than if I go through my insurance company. And if they find out you've got insurance, you can't say, I changed my mind, I want to pay out of pocket. If you tell them you've got insurance, they said, we got to go with what you said. You got insurance, so you can't get the out of pocket price. Scams, guys. Allegedly scams. You guys tell me what you think about this in the comments. But guys, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos and supporting me on this channel. Again, I will not be doing a live the rest of this week due to the holiday. Okay, it was Thanksgiving. I got to do a lot of work, so I got to cut back on the workload. I like to let you guys know ahead of time, but I want you guys to have a happy, blessed Thanksgiving. Pray if you got some relatives like mine that want to talk politics when they know that your politics differs from them. But you know what? I'll give them a little line or two. You know, I still need Jesus. Y'all pray for me. But I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Select all notifications. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.